Now I think that this ash will work really lovely for this project, for this box. So this is the lid, this is the base. Both of these are 6-inch diameter, 150 mil, 3-inch thickness for the base, 2 1/4 for the lid. And I'll start first with the base. Get that on the screw chuck. This is 3-in-1 from VICMARC. Stop the lid, lock it, and tighten it up a little bit more. So spindle gouge, and all I want to do is get the rough shape from the image that you'll see on the screen. Now the speed is 1172. A spindle gouge, 1/2 inch diameter, 12 mil. So this is the inside, heavily undercut, but nice flowing curve all the way to the bottom. And this is now the profile that I've ended up. So small bead here, and then the peak of this curve is around here, that flows nicely all the way to the bottom, to the foot here. This is the lid, back with the spindle gouge. So that's all that it takes from this side. So have a tenon to grip on. Speed is 1488. That's the opening on the base. So small tenon here. Okay, that's good. Now what I don't like is that the base, as you can see, it rocks a little bit. This is cut nice and flat, but the base did warp ever so slightly. But I can always grip by the tenon here and just smooth this area. It doesn't take much. I'll do that as a last step. I'll let the base cool off first. So the base ends up somewhere around here. So first I'll just rough out this away. Now I do want to mark it exactly, so a little bit inside this, like so. That's just a rough shape, so I know roughly where to go on the inside. Scraper. Okay, that feels really good. Maybe I should undercut this. A bit more, so it's a little bit lighter. Here on the bottom I'll use a refiner, has a shallow curve. Slightly roll this in so it looks like a big bead. Like so. And with the skew I'll just finesse that a little bit. I'm using this small portion of the skew, side bevel, as a scraper. Works beautifully. So I will be able to expand jaws into this small recess, and I can finish the inside now. Beeswax. Inside is done, I think. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Now, I hope these jaws can go inside. Ooh, just barely. Of course, I meant to do that. So that will fit. Now let's see how this corresponds with the base. So you can see how this now looks on the base. So proportionally, I'm okay with this height, just having a nice curve going in like so. Again, I'll post the picture on the screen. Now, as I've said, I have to flatten the top here of this bead, and actually I also noticed a little line on the bead. You should be able to see it here. So I will have to sand this bead anyway. A little bit more roll here, but that should be okay. Just smoothing this curve out and making the knob. Now this is all waste, so spindle gouge, and I'll just remove that. Or I can use something like a scraper. I think that's the top done. Now with the spindle gouge, I'll just round this into a nice flowing curve. should be it. Now I've made a mistake of not checking once I get this shape and put it on the base to see how it looks, and you can see, at least to my eye, it looks a little bit too bulbous here, so this needs to be a little bit better curve here. So back on the lathe. Okay, to my mind, this is now much better. So not much in terms of change, but again looks a little bit more finessed in my opinion. Lid is now done as well. Yeah, that looks as it should. And now I just need to finish up the base. Now throughout the video I've shown you AI render design, and I'll put it again side by side here. Because I want to point out several key differences which in my opinion makes it my piece better, more organic and more human. So what I mean by that is, again, I'll try to do this side by side. So here, this is the biggest change or difference, is this curve here. So on AI it's a little bit more straighter. It looks like it's a portion from a perfect circle. And that is something that I don't like, especially on a box like this here. So as you can see here on my piece, this is tighter curve, and then from this point a little straighter curve in the bottom section. So it's a continuous curve that makes it really nice and pleasant. Now the other change which I really like is these two beads. So these are matching, so as best I could match them. So this one has a function as a foot and also as a gripping point for hollowing. But you can see that this bead is a really nice, almost perfect bead, which on the AI it's a little bit weird looking, and I think it looks a little bit unfinished on AI generated. And again, I think overall when you add these things up, the piece just looks a little bit better, at least to my eye. Let me know in the comments what you think. There is a point to this video, and I do this all the time. So whenever I find something that I really like, or I'm inspired by certain design or anything like that, like in this case, this AI generated design, what I try to point out here is that the point is not to make a direct copy of that design, but rather look at the picture at the beginning of the turning and throw it away. Use your memory as sort of a basic guideline of direction that you want to go. But then, as you saw in my video, on my approach, all the subtle changes that you like and that you don't like on the original piece, you can change it, make it a little bit better, make it your own. And that's what I've done here. So that's a sort of a design practice that you can do as well. So again, it's not the point to copy your favorite turner work, but rather just look at the piece at the beginning and use your memory as sort of to basic guideline, let's say, and then use your own voice throughout turning to change it. Small changes here and there really adds up and make a piece a little bit different. At least in this case, I think it really turned out really lovely. So let me know in the comments what you think, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.